morning, my dear students. This is online session. Standard 7th, Unit 1, Economics Part. Continuation of production. Do you know there are 4 factors of production: land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. Today's learn about labor.
Workers. So children, now let's see the definition of labor. A labor is a human input into the production process. So labors are the human input to the production process. Alfred Marshall. So Alfred Marshall is an economist. So he defines labor as the use of body or mind partly or wholly. So partly means a part, wholly means fully, with a view to secure an income apart from the pleasure derived from work. So according to him, a labor is a person who uses their physical body as well as the mind for the production. Next, Adam Smith. So Adam Smith is also an economist. He is known as the father of economics. So children, make a note of it. Adam Smith is known as the father of economics, and this economics is wealth economics. He wrote 2 classic works. So he wrote 2 books related to wealth economics. So first one is The Theory of Moral Sentiments, which was published in the year 1759, and An Enquiry into the Nature and Causes of Wealth of Nations, which was published in the year 1776. So children, Adam Smith is known as the father of economics, and he wrote 2 classic works related to wealth economics. So now let's see the characteristics of labor. So first is labor is more perishable than other factors. So far we have seen only one factor, that is the primary factor, land. So in land, the first feature is it is imperishable. So what I've told, imperishable means it cannot be destroyed, whereas labor is perishable. So perishable means it can destroyed or it can be changed. So for example, if a person working in a particular company, and he got a good offer in another company, means he can switch over the working place. So labor is perishable, so he can change often. Then the second point is labor is an active factor of production. So they are the active factor, means what? They are the living input to the production. The third one is labor is not homogeneous. So homogeneous means each labor will have a particular skill. For example, one may be good at mechanical work, or other may be good at administrative work. So the labor skill differ from person to person. So it is not homogeneous. The next is labor cannot be separated from the laborer, which means the labor and the workplace cannot be separated. So the labor has to work in the workplace to produce a high productivity. Next is the labor is mobile. So mobile means the labor can be moved or shifted from one place to another, whereas land is immobile. Immobile means it cannot be moved. The final one is individual labor has only limited bargaining power. So limited bargaining means the argument. So the labor cannot argue with the employer. Employer means who? The person who employs the labor. So he cannot argue with the owner to raise the wages. So wages means what? Salary or the payment. So they cannot argue with the employer. So these are all the characteristic feature of the second factor of production, that is labor. So now let's move on to another concept, that is division of labor. So division of labor means each worker has a specified task. So each worker has a specific task. So let's see it in detail. So division of labor concept was introduced by Adam Smith. So Adam Smith is father of economics. In his book An Enquiry into the Nature and Causes of Wealth of Nations. So children, make a note of it. It may be asked in one word. The concept of division of labor was introduced by Adam Smith. So now let's see it in detail. So children, now look at this picture carefully. So the words in the pictures are editor, reporter, content. So it looks like a media field. So one is doing the content writing, one is editing, another one is posting the messages in the social media. So each one are engaged in doing some particular task. So this is called division of labor. So to pass the message to the public, they are dividing the work among themselves and they are doing it. So now let's see the definition. The division of labor means dividing the process of production into distinct and several component processes and assigning each component in the hands of labor or a set of laborers who are a specialist in that particular process. So that means dividing the work into several components and assigning a person for that component. So now let's see another example related to some mechanic work. So one is a specialist in framing, then siding, painting, inspection and finally shipping. So like that the work is divided into several components. So children, now let's take another example, that is a tailor. So we all notice that in a small tailor shop, a single person will take a measurement and the person will stitch to make a shirt. Here, a single person is doing all the works like measuring, stitching. So the productivity will be less. Now let's take another example, garments. So garments is a place where lot of people work together. So one will do the cutting work, another one is stitching, another one will do the stitching of the buttons to the shirt to produce the final output, that is the shirt. So the productivity will be more when the works are divided among the workers. So this is called division of labor. So now let's see the merits of division of labor. So merits means advantages. First one is it increases the efficiency of labor when the labor repeats doing the same task. So we know that in division of labor the tasks are divided. For example, in the production of shirt we have seen one will do the cutting work, another one will do the stitching, another one is stitching the buttons to the shirt. So each labor will be efficient at particular work. That is, one will be faster in cutting the clothes, another one will be faster in stitching the buttons to the shirt. So the efficiency of the labor will increase. The next one is facilitates the use of machinery in production resulting in invention. So the use of machineries to the production, it causes the increase in productivity. Next one is the time and materials are put to the best and most efficient use. So the time and the materials, since the works are divided among the workers, so we can produce the product within less time. So even though there are some advantages in this concept, there is some demerits also. Demerits means disadvantages. So now let's see it. First one is repetition of the same task makes labor to feel that the work is monotonous and stale. It kills the humanity in him. So the repetition of doing the same work makes him to feel very bored or makes him to feel like a machine. So for example, if a person is doing the same work of stitching the buttons to the shirt, so they will feel bored of the work. So it breaks the humanity in him. And second one is narrow specialization reduces the possibility of labor to find alternative avenues of employment. So this results in increased unemployment. Narrow specialization means, so let's take the same example. A person is stitching buttons to the shirt. So if he loses his job in that particular company, so he need to find another job, but there should be a vacancy for that button stitching because he is well known for that particular task only. So there will be an increased level of unemployment. So I hope you are clear with this. So reduce the growth of handicrafts and the worker loses the satisfaction of made a commodity in full. That means, so half will be done by the worker and another half of the work will be completed by the machine. So there will be no satisfaction to the worker that they completed the commodity. Commodity means the product in full. So these are all the demerits of division of labor. So first one is the labor will get bored of doing the same task again and again. And second one is he will be specialized in one particular task only. For example, button stitching.
End of today's session. Today's homework. Dear student, beginning to end, recall your own way. 2 marks, define labor, define division of labor. 5 marks, 3 questions. This question answers. Pause the video. This question read and write for home test. Thank you, my dear students.